Good day, everyone. We are the fourth year BSIT students from Arellano University JAS Campus, and this is the online demonstration of our capstone project system titled Computer Laboratory Management System with Descriptive Data Analytics. The system we developed is basically a borrow and return system for the equipment from the computer laboratories of the campus, and we have three user levels, which is the student, the faculty, which are both the borrowers, and then the custodian or the admin who manages all the logs and the system. And then we added an additional feature, which is the RFID technology, to make the logging in easier. And then also, each of the equipments available for borrow inside the computer laboratory have their own RFID cards, and each of these RFID cards contains the data of each equipment, so that there is no need for repetitive and manual input of the name of the equipment. We can only use these cards to tap and then save the records. Okay, so let's get started with the system. The first thing we are going to demonstrate is the user registration or the signing up. Only the custodian or admin is allowed to register users into the system, and then the custodian will distribute the credentials to each of the users. This is implemented to make sure that the system is secured and ensures data integrity, so that no other users or even students can accidentally create duplicate accounts or even make dummy accounts into the system. Next, let's test if we can log in into the system using the newly registered or newly created account. So as you can see here, we successfully logged into the system using the newly registered account, and then this newly registered account is a student user level, which means they can borrow, return, and access their own history logs. Next, let's now discuss the user session timeout. What happens here is that after a couple of minutes that the user becomes inactive in the system has a feature where it will prompt the user if they want to extend their session or not. If the user ignores this message, the system will automatically log out on its own. This protects the account of the user while they are away from unauthorized access.
So here is the student level. The page has a minimal design and has less actions to avoid complexity. And we move first to our student profile. Here, student users can manually change their profile picture, email, password, year, and course. Passwords are also encrypted and can only be seen by the user for privacy. Next, we move on to borrowing. Here, students can borrow computer lab equipment by tapping on the RFID scanner which equipment shall they want. Students' info is automatically filled out, so no more long manual inputs. The page will give you instructions and policies. Once that's done, click OK. Your record will be put into the database. For returning the equipment, the process is also simple. User will be shown the list of equipments they need to return before the due date. Click on the Return Action button, and you'll be directly loaded to the returning process page. Simply enter the required information and repeat the steps again. This will lead you to the history logs. Lastly, for the student page, the history log shows the list of records the student user has made over a period of time. This is done for the increased transparency and liability.
So, as you can see here, this is the custodian main page. So, the custodian main page is that there's six buttons in here showed up. So, this is the custodian things that the admin can do. So, there's manage equipment, user list, penalty management, borrowed item, archive users, item analytics. Here, as you can see here, once we click the menu button on the side, is that there is an informal information that will show up. So here is that custodian can edit their email, their password, their image. So let's go to the management equipment. As you can see here, this is where the information of the equipment shows, and there is an add new equipment, edit equipment, where we can edit things and delete an equipment. So let's go to the user list. So in user list, this is where the accounts were stored. So custodian can archive the student in here. So now let's go to the archive users. In archive users, this is where the student or faculty were stored after the main archive. So this is where you can see is that they've been archived and active again. So let's go to the penalty management. So in penalty management is that custodian can see of the user, which is the student or the faculty, may damage or loss on equipment. So custodian can add a penalty for that payment, and also they can see the history of the penalty, which of the student has been paid or not, and also if the dean has said ago, since the dean are the one who will decide the penalty. So we can go now to the borrowed item. So the borrowed item has two borrowed lists of type, which is a student and a faculty. So this borrowed equipment is where custodian can return things on the behalf of the users, where they can use their own RFID card to return the equipment. So for example, when users forget to return the equipment on website, the page, then custodian can return that item.
Now let's move on naman po to one of the features of our system, which is data analytics. And so in here, pinapakita po natin yung summary and statistics of all the recorded data and information inside the system. And so we have 3 total number cards, we have 4 pie charts, as well as 2 bar charts. And so sa number cards, we can see the total students. And so dito pinapakita yung total count ng students that is currently enrolled or recorded inside the system. And the same thing goes for the total faculty and total equipment. So sa total faculty, makikita po natin currently we also have 1 recorded or enrolled inside our system. While sa total equipment naman, we currently have 5. Now, let's move on naman po to the pie charts. And so, the first one is most borrowed equipments. So, dito po, pinapakita natin yung summary ng total amount of borrowed equipments inside our system. Makikita po natin dito na sa computer, siya po yung pinakamaraming nahiram within the semester, followed by laptop, followed by monitor, and so on and so forth. Next naman po is we have the item status statistics, which we have a total of 2. We have 1 for faculty and 1 for students. And in these pie charts naman po, pinapakita natin yung summary ng mga status and conditions of the returned equipments recorded in the system. So as we can see in the faculty, we have a large amount of equipments returned with a good condition, followed by a small amount of damage. And the same thing goes for the students. Next naman po, we have the course borrowing statistics, which is our final pie chart. And so in here, pinapakita po natin yung summary ng total amount of students' course and year who borrowed within a certain time period. And as we can see here, BSIT4 is leading the vast majority. And now, let's move on naman po to the final chart, which is the bar chart. We have 2 of them, both of which are borrowed trends for month. We have 1 for faculty and 1 for student. And so, dito naman po, pinapakita natin yung summary of the total amount of equipments borrowed within a month. So, makikita po natin, for example, sa faculty, we have
more than 20 barrows within 2025-07, which means within July, we have more than 20 barrows total from the faculty. And the same logic goes for the students.